In the nearly 3 decades since Hong Kong returned to Chinese rule, the city has undergone dramatic changes, from introducing 2 sets of national security laws to increased connectivity with the mainland. Now, as the 29th anniversary of the handover approaches, Hong Kong's Secretary for Security Chris Tang joins us to review his bureau's work over the past year and tell us what to expect in the next. Welcome, Secretary.
Hi, Jess. Hi, Matthew.
How many arrested persons from the 2019 protests have participated in your bureau's special rehabilitation program? And among them, how many have had their cases dropped afterwards?
All right. So I think talk about the 2019 Black Hat violence. We have arrested around 10,000 people, and 3,000 of them has been dealt with by legal means. For example, they're either being prosecuted or they are dealt with by like a bound over, so they are dealt with by a legal process. For the remaining of 6,000 odd people, in fact, as a matter of fact, they have been released and no one is on bail. But they are being released doesn't mean that the investigation is stopped altogether, because we still have to look at many other additional evidence. For example, CCTV, we still have a lot of CCTV that we have to go through. So we're considering that for those cases, anyway, we have to conduct a review on the strength of the evidence. But we're talking about 6,000 to 7,000 cases. There's a lot. How we can deal with those cases, or for example, if we consider that someone really have a sense of remorse and they would like to know more about the country, because in 2019 they're being provoked by others, and in fact they know that they are not right. So for those people, we'll give priority to review their case, and we consider that they have sense of remorse and their chance of being repeated to commit their offense will be low, and the threat to the society will be comparatively low, and then we'll review their case first. And if there's no evidence for the time being, and then we will have them released. And this is not just the program of whether to release them or not, or not to, or to tell them that we are going to curtail the case. This is only one aspect. The other aspect is to try to help out with their career path, or try to help them to be integrated into the education system, or even if they would like to visit mainland China. And I think because we have engaged an organization to conduct that program, and that organization will try to see whether they can help out for them to get their necessary visa to go back to China. I think this is a whole bundle of actions.
So does that mean that even completing the entire program doesn't guarantee that their cases will be dropped?
I would say if there's already evidence exists, they will be prosecuted, right? But for those cases, we still have to review the case. It doesn't mean that we stop it there, because for the time being, there's no evidence. Doesn't mean that the investigation will be suspended at that moment in time. We have to review the case, right? So what is the priority of reviewing the case? Or should we decide we're going to stop the investigation at that moment in time? So we will depend on a lot of other considerations, including whether they have sense of remorse and whether they would like to have their identity of a Chinese identity be back. I think these are all considerations.
Nearly 6 years after the enactment of the national security law, what sort of national security threats does Hong Kong face now, given the conclusion of most major national security trials and an improved law and order under the relevant laws?
I think because of the geopolitical situations, there are some foreign countries, they would like to maintain their hegemony, and they do not want to see China develop. I think with that, bear that in mind. That's what I'm saying, that national security in Hong Kong is a continuous process. We have to counter about those threats, and there's no end point. And I think at least there are 4 threats that we will and are posing threats to Hong Kong. First of all, it's external infiltration, which include putting spies in Hong Kong. As you can see, some foreign countries, they have made an advertisement recruiting betrayers. And the second threat is those abscondees. They commit offense in Hong Kong, they abscond to other places, and they in other countries they consider that they are free from prosecution, which is wrong. I think the third threat is the local terrorism. As you can see, once in a while, those people, in particular youth, they are being provoked with a mindset of against the government, and they'll use extreme violence. For example, making and planting of explosion, of explosive. And it happens before, as we may recall, we have interdicted quite a number of those local terrorism groups where they try to make explosive and cause extensive damage to innocent people.
Some Wangfu Court residents are concerned that not invoking the commission of inquiry with subpoena power may hinder the quest for justice and accountability. How will you comment on the committee's decision, and how could you ensure that those people who have declined to testify before the committee, for example, District Councillor Peggy Wong, could be held accountable?
I think, as the Chief Executive mentioned, we will hold those responsible be accountable. As said by the chairman of the Independent Commission, right? So actually, throughout the hearing, they have sufficient materials to draw to a conclusion. And even we compel some of the witnesses to attend the hearing. If they do not cooperate, may not gain many. But at the same time, you may be aware that the law enforcement agencies, including police and ICAC, have prosecuted 7 persons and 2 companies for manslaughter and corruption-related offenses. If you look at the name of the arrested person, 2 of them are those who refused to attend to the independent commissions. So that means whether they attend the commission or not, it doesn't really matter. If we have evidence, we will arrest and we will prosecute. And I think the chairman of the Independent Commission also spelled out very clearly that why the beauty of the that IC is it won't have any delayed justice, because the process is really quick, and they're going to issue the reports in about 9-10 months' time. But when we look at what happened in UK in 2014, the Grenfell Tower case, right? 2017, right? But the reports only out in 2024, and they have yet to make any prosecution. So you can see the advantage of having a independent commission rather than a formal commission of inquiry, because a lot of process, for example, the claiming of insurance, it will depend on the reports of the IC first.
You've mentioned there's an overlap between those arrested for prosecution and those who have refused to testify at the independent committee. But Peggy Wong hasn't been arrested, but residents are coming out with lots of anecdotes against her, lots of suspicions against her involvement. How would you reassure Wangfu Court residents that accountability, truth and justice will be delivered in full?
I would say for any arrest action or prosecution actions, it will depend on evidence. If we have evidence, no matter he or she we are going to arrest them and prosecute them.
Will the United States participate in the upcoming Interpol General Assembly?
Interpol General Assembly is open to all members of the Interpol community.
Is the United States coming?
They are one of the Interpol members.
Is there a plan for the government to resume full cooperation with jurisdictions that have suspended such an arrangement to surrender fugitives with us after the 2019 social unrest?
You mentioned about 2019 social unrest, right? So I would like to reiterate, it is not a simple social unrest as such. It is a failed Hong Kong version of color revolutions. And in order to safeguard our national security, we, our country implemented NSL and have it being executed in Hong Kong, and we also enact our own SNSO. These laws against or to safeguard national security, it exists in every civilized country. In the United States, they have at least 20 odd pieces of legislation. In UK, they have at least 14 similar pieces of legislation. Why you can have the legislation, and if we do the same, we are not right. So this is double standard, and this is why they suspend the surrender of fugitive arrangement. So it is all the responsibility of those foreign jurisdictions. And before they resume such arrangement, and I can see no legal foundation to facilitate the exchange of fugitive.
So is there a plan to resume or to start the discussions?
It is not our call. It is a call of those foreign countries. Because of those political reasons, they suspend those treaties. I think it's not just a regret, it's a pity. The only one being benefited is criminals. So I hope those foreign countries will resume all those treaties.
And how many case-by-case extradition agreements with these countries have been conducted since 2020?
As I said, we have no legal foundation, we have no treaty to facilitate such exchange of fugitive or the return of fugitive.
But the case-by-case arrangements?
And there's no legal foundation. There's no treaty.
Would you aim for higher office?
I would forever support Mr. John Lee to continuously leading our team to serve the public.
If Mr. Lee continues for a second term, would you do the same?
What my desire is not important, it's the organizational need.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tang, for joining us today. You can read more about our full conversation by following our reports on our website.